Hello YouTube, I'm Ben White. I'm an employment attorney, and on this channel we answer publicly posted questions from YouTube users, getting folks the answer they need from an employment attorney. Pardon for my coughing, I will edit those out. I'm just going to hit the mute button. Also, pardon for the tapping sound on the video. We are trying very hard to figure out what is causing that tapping sound. We thought it was the neon sign we bought custom from Ukraine, but we've unplugged that, and that does not seem to be the cause. We've also unplugged a number of other things that could be causing electrical interference. And those don't seem to have helped either. But bizarrely, the tapping sound doesn't show up when we do live streams. It only shows up for these videos. So the whole thing is bizarre. I'm at my wit's end, and I'm like, I'm just going to bring in a sound engineer. But there's not too many sound engineers locally, so that's got to pay somebody to make the trip. That's a lot. And I apologize for that, but I'm not going to remake the video. So, we have a question here from YouTube user Bella Wolf, who asks us, "Hi Vince, how are you doing today? Is it really hard to prove discrimination without having audio or video proof of discrimination? I'm waiting to see if the Department of Human Rights, which I believe is the New York State Division of Human Rights in New York, will give me a hearing, and my caseworker there keeps saying I'm not showing discrimination. But I am in 3 classes, so protected classes, being that I'm a senior, and a woman, and a minority. What are your thoughts?" Bella, so there's many, many ways, near infinite ways, to show discrimination, to use various kinds of evidence, disparate treatment, to show discrimination. But the way you're describing it, we have to address that. So you're saying, listen, I'm in 3 protected classes. Sure. I mean, everyone's in protected class, right? Absolutely everyone is in at least one protected class. Saying you're in a protected class is one element, right? Being in a protected class is only one element. Now, the other elements are, you need a negative workplace consequence to show discrimination, right? And you need to show that the protected class you're talking about was at least a partial motivating factor in why you experienced a negative workplace consequence. So here what you're doing, Bella, and I think you just typed it on the internet, so I'm sure you've got a better, more nuanced understanding of this. But you're basically throwing your hands up in this question and being like, I got a protected class. I got 3 protected classes. Cool. Yeah. Well, that's the baseline. That's you've got 1/3 of a claim, right? So if the investigator or the caseworker, whoever it is coming to you saying, hey, you're not showing discrimination, then it sounds like you're not showing the other elements of a discrimination claim, right? Which would be the negative workplace consequence, which I assume you have, or you probably wouldn't have filed. And then, of course, you need some piece of evidence, some reason that people will believe you that your protected class was a motivating factor, right? And sometimes that's as simple as listen, I was treated differently than everyone else, and there's no reason besides my protected class. That's one way to argue it, and I've seen judges and juries buy into that. But it is the simplest, least compelling, riskiest way to argue that, right? Generally, you're going to want some piece of evidence. And it doesn't have to be audio video. Could be emails. Could be disparate treatment. Could be little figurines that are, kind of questionable in terms of what that person who keeps them might believe. Anything that can go to show or go to convince a judge, a jury, an arbitrator that, or a caseworker, an investigator, whoever it is, anything that can go to convince that person that the bad thing that happened to you was at least partially motivated by some form of discrimination. And it sounds like that might be where you're falling short, Bella. And if you don't remedy that, right, if you don't remedy that in the State Division of Human Rights, you're not going to get a hearing. And I want you to get a hearing because I believe you that you're experiencing discrimination. So you're going to have to find that piece of the puzzle. You're going to have to present that piece of the puzzle, the why I believe and why you should believe this was discrimination, right? That's what you need to give to the investigator. And you really have to think of it. I know it's so simplistic, it's a little formulaic, but the elements are how you prove the claim, right? Bad thing, negative workplace consequence. Boom, you've got it. I assume, right? Protected class. You're in 3, you tell me. Boom, you've got it. The link between those two. The protected class needs to be at least a partial motivating factor as to why the negative workplace consequence was done to you. You need that. It's required. Right? You can't just go in and be like, hey, bad thing, protected class. That's not how this works. And if you don't get a hearing, that's bad for you because then your only real option, hopefully you cross file with the EEOC, get your right to sue letter, and go on to federal court, where you still need to fill all the elements of the claim, right? So if you want that hearing in the State Division, ideally you want to fill that element right now before you take the L, take the loss at the State Division level. And that's what's on your plate right now. It's hard sometimes to articulate why. Like, there is a tendency for people who are experiencing discrimination to want to say, well, I just know it. Yes, and that's normal. That's common. I deal with many people who feel that way. Doesn't do us any good, right? I just feel it is not compelling to anyone. In fact, it's almost negatively compelling, right? Like, if you are bringing a discrimination claim and the investigator's like, okay, so why do you think it's discrimination? And your response is, I just feel it. That investigator will write you off so fast. Because listen, if they don't believe you, they can just write you off and do less work. No hearing, less burden to our system. This person, and they're often very negative about it. Like, oh, this person's an asshole. This person just made up a discrimination claim. That's how they feel about it a lot of the time. If you don't give them the why, right? Like, people are aggressive to discrimination claims that they don't find compelling. So it's very, very important that you have that connection piece, that connection element, because people will turn on you all the time, investigators especially, like, because they have every reason to turn on you. They, it's keep in mind, they will do less work, their life will be easier, and their agency will be less burdened if they establish that you failed to give that connection. They got all the motivation in the world to get rid of you. To say, oh, no hearing, no probable cause. Does that suck? Yeah. But the burden is on you for the discrimination claim. Retaliation is a little bit different, but for a discrimination claim, the burden is absolutely on you. It's inescapable. You have to meet the burden. You have to meet the elements. You have to really correctly plead your case, and that's the only way it's going to work. All right? Also, I saw you ask for us to do live streams after 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I will try to do that in the next couple of weeks. I will absolutely try to do that. I'm going to try to do more live streams. I know we took a break in the live streams. The live streams are really long. Like, by the time I get through all the questions, it's usually about 2 hours. We did a 2-hour one last night that actually went to about 6 p.m. Eastern Time. But they seem really popular. People really like them. We had 40 plus people concurrently on the stream last night. So, like, which I know is not big by, like, influencer standards, but in terms of, like, some goober of an attorney on the internet trying to help people, That felt pretty good, right? So I will try to do more live streams. And I don't, maybe you don't need it anymore because I answered your question, but I just wanted to say, yeah, I will try to do something after 6 p.m. Maybe I'll do like 6 p.m. to 8 or something like that. We'll see. We'll see. Anyways, if this was helpful, like, subscribe, comment down below. It's how we help the channel to grow. Take care, everybody. Go buy merch.